Dysfunctionality is a powerful, soul-searching, and spiritually charged book that addresses the hidden struggles, emotional wounds, and inner battles that people, especially believers, often carry. Apostle Femi Lazarus brings deep biblical insight, personal vulnerability, and prophetic wisdom to help individuals understand, confront, and overcome the dysfunctions that limit their growth, relationships, and destinies. The central message is clear. God specializes in using broken, dysfunctional people to fulfill His divine purposes. But healing and wholeness require honesty, process, and grace. Core themes when understanding dysfunctionality. Dysfunctionality refers to the internal inconsistencies, emotional scars, spiritual wounds, and behavioral patterns that result from trauma, sin, upbringing, and life experiences. Many Christians carry dysfunctions masked by religious appearances. Apostle Femi emphasizes that God doesn't use perfect vessels, but restored ones. He exposes how dysfunctions distort self-perception, hinder spiritual growth, and affect destiny. 2. Biblical case studies. Apostle Femi draws on Scripture to show how God worked through people with visible flaws. Moses had anger issues and self-doubt but was used to deliver Israel. David battled lust and made grave errors, yet was called a man after God's heart. Rahab, a prostitute who became part of the lineage of Jesus. Peter, emotionally impulsive and inconsistent, yet foundational to the early church. These examples underscore that God does not discard the dysfunctional, He redeems them. 3. Sources of dysfunction. The book explores major root causes: family background and upbringing, abuse, rejection, favoritism, absentee parenting, trauma and abuse, emotional, verbal, sexual, physical abuse and their long-term consequences, sin and guilt, hidden sins that lead to cycles of shame and self-condemnation, cultural and religious conditioning, teachings that shame emotional expression or promote performance over transformation. 4. The mask of functionality. Many believers function in church, ministry, and work while silently bleeding inside. Apostle Femi calls this functional brokenness, where people serve God outwardly while hiding inner chaos. The danger lies in the lack of vulnerability, which prevents true healing and community. 5. Healing through vulnerability and grace. Healing begins with honesty, acknowledging one's pain, weakness, and struggles before God and trusted people. Vulnerability is not weakness but strength. It allows others to help and God to restore. God's grace doesn't just cover sin, it empowers transformation. 6. The process of restoration. The journey from dysfunction to wholeness involves awareness, identifying dysfunctional patterns, acceptance, owning one's story without shame, accountability, inviting mentors, counselors, or spiritual leaders, healing through prayer, inner work, counseling, and deliverance, renewal, allowing the Word and Spirit to rewire thoughts and behavior. Purpose. God often uses healed wounds as tools for ministry and compassion. 7. The church's role in restoration. The church should be a hospital, not a courtroom. Many believers pretend to be okay because of fear of judgment. Apostle Femi challenges leaders to foster a culture of grace, transparency, and support. Key quotes and insights. Dysfunctionality is not a death sentence. It's a call to transformation. You cannot conquer what you won't confront. God is not intimidated by your scars. He wants to write His glory through them. The most powerful people are not those without flaws, but those whose flaws have been surrendered to God. Final thoughts. Dysfunctionality is both confrontational and comforting. Apostle Femi Lazarus writes with deep compassion and spiritual authority, making the book a tool for inner healing, deliverance, and personal revival. It is especially vital for leaders, believers struggling with shame, and anyone desiring a deeper, more honest walk with God. Like and subscribe for more insightful and faith-lifting book summary. Also, do well to get a copy of this book today.